What's up, stats? This is the last video for this week, and we are just going to go over a Desmos activity, solidifying our probability and our two-way frequency tables. Okay, we're not going to go through bell work, so we're just going to go straight through the Desmos activity. Not all of it. I'll leave a lot of it up to you guys, and then, of course, the closure. So get started, get logged in. This is the activity that we're going to be doing today. We're just going to review how conditional probability is connected to two-way frequency tables one last time, and then we'll be moving on from our probability unit after next week. Okay? All right, so again, here it is. One last time, in case you didn't get it. This link will also be on Google Classroom, so you can go ahead and copy and go through there. Fantastic. All right, so a survey by the Pew Research Center asked students, faculty, and administrators to rate the importance of using social media to interact with peers and colleagues. So the data is summarized for this activity in two-way table in the following screens. So this next one, it's just going to be assessing differences. I'm going to leave this one up to you. All you need to do is just name one way in which students, faculty, and administrators differ in their attitudes towards social media. This could be anything, really. This could be like, well, I see that students do think it's very important, whereas faculty and administrators don't think it's very important at all. Something like that, something simple. Just look at the table, see what differences there are, okay? This is our first probability. What is the probability that the subject felt social media was important, okay? I am going to draw on the table, and you can too. So by subject, that means literally anything, so anybody, okay? So faculty, administrators, or students. So this is 128 all over the total. So that's my probability. It's literally just 128 all over the total, 320, okay? Of course, this will reduce down to some number, and you'll figure out that number, okay? I'm not going to figure out that number for you, but that is the fraction, all right? What is the probability that the subject felt social media was somewhat important? So that we're going to take the total all over the total. Sweet. Probability 2, what is the probability that the subject was both a student and said that the social media was not important? Okay? Both the student and social media was not important. So both the student is 200, but out of 320, so I'm going to write that. So 200 out of 320. But since it's an and probability, that means I need to multiply. That social media was not important. Social media was not important, so 52, okay, out of 320. So this question is kind of confusing as we start to see exactly what it's asking, okay? So pay very close attention. Initially, we would think, okay, it is multiplication because it's and. So we would do all the multiplication symbols. And maybe we're thinking maybe it's not even 52 because maybe it's just 103. But the question says both a student and, okay, said social media was not important. So yes, this may be what we're initially thinking, but in all actuality, we're just going to be taking this. And the reason why we're just taking this is because it is slightly a conditional probability here. We're saying that the overlap is the student and those that don't think that social media is not that important, that think social media is not that important, okay? So we're taking those who are students and who think that social media is not that important all over the total. So the and is a little bit misleading here. Now, of course, this can be simplified to whatever fraction you divide by 13 or 5 or 2 or 4 or something. Okay, so you need to divide that. I'm not going to divide that, but that is how you do that question, okay? Now, what is the probability that a subject was a student or said that that social media was not important? So was a student, so we take the total amount of students, 200, all over 320, okay? I'm going to try to get it better here. 320 plus, because that's what or is, plus the subject of that social media was not important. So not important, so 103 all over 320. But I need to minus the overlap, those who are students and who don't think that social media is important. So minus 52 all over 320. Okay, because that's what OR probability is. Now, of course, you need to simplify this yourself, but that is how you do it. How do I do this? You can literally just plug it on Desmos, on a new sheet of Desmos, just like this. Just plug it on a new sheet of Desmos, and then you can solve it out that way. Okay. Now, which is more likely, and try to defend it. So, finding a student who thinks social media is somewhat important, or finding a faculty member who thinks social media is somewhat important. I think what's more likely is finding a student who thinks social media is far more important. However, it is kind of, you can kind of argue for both. The reason why I do student is because for faculty here, it's sort of both, like evenly, almost. It's almost even. And here, it's almost 30 more, 20 or 30 more students think that's somewhat important, okay? And so that's why I think it's both. I think that the range is greater on the student side to pick a somewhat important than the range on the faculty member. So personally, I would pick finding a student. Now you can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong answer here, so please just explain your reasoning. Now, what is the probability that a participant is an administrator? This one's actually very easy because we're just looking at the total probability here. So 40 all over 320. And so this reduces down to 4 all over 32, which reduces down to 1 all over 8. So 1/8 of the subjects are administrators. Okay, 1/8 of the subjects are administrators. And then, what is the probability that the participant social media is somewhat important? Given that the participant said that the social media is somewhat important, what is the probability that the participant is an administrator? So it's an overlap, it's a conditional. So overlap of somewhat important and administrator, so this is 14, all over the condition, which is that they think that somewhat is important. The social media is somewhat important, so that's all over the condition 128. Okay, and you can reduce that down however you need to do that. Each one's probably divisible by at least 2, maybe 7. Okay, and then just put it all together and then finish up. Okay, you can say yes or no for this one. It does not matter. Okay, you don't need to do the last two. The only reason why I don't want you to do the last two is because they're kind of difficult. So please don't feel like you need to do the last two at all, but at least get to slide 10. All right, and that's all I have for you guys. It's very that simple. It's very simple. Don't feel like you're stressing out this week. The next 2 days are just work days for you, so please feel free to just take that time to get caught up, do any extra homework, do a retake on the quiz review, do anything like that. Just take a couple days and get caught up, okay? Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you watch any of the other videos in the statistics playlist. This is C Squared Mathematics. See you guys later.